To all of our audience, we welcome you from People's School Thought Process, and we have this weekly regular conversation with the topics of the public interest. Today we will talk about business, we will talk about economy. Well, economy is something that we do not necessarily talk much, but we discuss other thing than that of the economy and economics. And but we're going to have this significant topic that we suffer from daily basis, the economic crisis. Well, how are we going to overcome them? How are we going to face them? What might be the future thinking? There might be some solution. There might be new ways of thinking around it. So we need to learn ourselves about the economics as well. And for that, we have invited all the experts speaker with us. I will introduce them with you. We have Sakda. Can you please introduce yourself? In your introduction, can you please introduce your background as well as your current activities? Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Sakda. I am the Deputy Director of the loan program of the KNU. We have this Gotule area, which is the KNU administrative area, starting from Thawnghmung area up to down south. We have people that they are trying to make their living on a daily basis. We have to listen to what's going on. We have this economic department, and we need to make sure that we have the regulation and we have policy for the economy. So we have this KNU administration, which we need to be a good one. And in order to have good governance, um, my office advise them, supervise them. This topic that we have today is about, I guess, the economy arrangement and management in the ethnic administration. Thank you. Thank you very much for pointing out the significance of the ethnic administration. They are very strong these days and very critical for the people on the ground. And I also would like to invite Siama Adan Town. Can you please introduce yourself? My name is Adan Town Maung. I am graduated and a political science professor in Massachusetts University of the US. I was born in Myanmar. I was raised in Myanmar, but now I am in Massachusetts University teaching economy, teaching democracy, teaching political science. And on top of that, I also do research. I also conducted research regarding the economy, relationship between economy and politics, and I also um, uh, 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 would like to mention that my surname is Thawnghmung, which is the surname of my husband. I myself, which is a Chin's name, and I myself is the Kayin lady. Now, I also would like to invite Hein Maung for the introduction. Thank you. My name is Hein Maung. I was in Myanmar back in 4 or 5 years ago, working for the organization, working on research and suggestion paper, policy brief regarding the public finance, and I also work in that organization as the consultation. Our organization work around the decentralization, and now currently I involve in research, consultation, and as well as policy um, advice, etc. Thank you for your introduction. We're going to have a three round in this conversation. The first round would be about your observation, your finding, your opinion regarding Myanmar economy. We will have the Q&A in between, and then we'll have the final round of conversation for wrapping up. Again, I also would like to encourage our audience to participate through Q&A box by raising question or making comment. I would like to invite Adan first. We talked about economy and politics are all interlinked, and we have changing dynamic in terms of Myanmar economy after the coup d'etat. People are experiencing all sort of financial hardship, economy hardship. Can you please share regarding your findings and your observation? Please make sure your microphone is on. Thank you. Talking about economy and politics, it is they are all interlinked. So that's why we have this subject matter regarding economic politic economy, and this is area of study for everyone because it's all linked. It is uh, directly linked with our daily life as well. If your uh, political dynamic is not stable, then it will have the direct impact on the people's daily life. And we have this political economy perspective that in Myanmar, people are suffering from all sort of financial hardship. They are suffering from their livelihood um, activities. The basic infrastructures are not working well. The internet connection is not good. The electricity is not sufficient. All of these has all sort of negative impacts on the political economy of Myanmar, and and business opportunity are quite limited due to all sort of sanction that the country is imposed, and a lot of human resources of Myanmar are now out of Myanmar as a migrant workers. So basically, the education, health, such kind of essential sector of a country, it's heavily impacted in a negative way. Skill development, good healthcare, it's not there. We need to have a healthy and skillful workforce in the country. But Myanmar labor market is not good because all these skilled laborers are drained outside of Myanmar, working in other countries as well, due to due to the unstable political dynamic. The rule of law is not good, so crime increase. There are all sort of petty crimes, and they're all sort of gambling, illegal gambling. Then again, the government is not competent enough in order to control all of this. The natural resources, the livestock are mismanaged. So ultimately, what will happen is that it has all sort of negative impact on agriculture as well as on the natural resources and environment of the whole country. And this is the country that people live on agriculture sector. But then again, since the agriculture inputs are getting expensive, so what happened is that the agriculture sector is not functioning very well. On top of that, you have all sort of climate change impact on the ground. So the agriculture productivity decrease. But in the political stable country, the government would have a long-term economy plan, and the government will make sure that the country revenue is stable, and as a result of it, all the essential services of country can be functioning, and human resource capacity, skills, and quality is increased. So in short, bad politics mean bad economy. They are all interrelated. This is something that I like to say. Thank you. Thank you very much for your discussion point. Next, I would like to invite Sia Sakda. Can you please share your opinion regarding Myanmar political economy? Since we learned that politics and economy it's all interlinked, then what is your observation regarding the current dynamic in this country? And can you also please share about the ethnic area perspective regarding political economic landscape? Thank you. I hope that you can hear my voice now. We are explained about the idea and concept about the political economy. Talking about economy, I mean, I would need to point out that our place it's a battlefield for long time, and since 1960s, our place became the battlefield. There has never been economic development that we enjoyed. Far from it. I mean, we have always been in the battlefield. Now, talking about the government, the governments that we had in the history, it's all about the military dictatorship. And what happened is that there was no room for economic development. There was no room for economic prosperity in the country and even in our ethnic area. In the ethnic area, in the Korean area, we has been combating throughout our life on a daily basis only with the wars. Whenever people understand in terms of economy, what they say is that it is about enough food, it is about a place to sleep, it is about to wear a clothes. That's it. Whenever we talked about economy, people never really understand the economy because the people they only know is war in front of them and the war that they live with. Well, apparently the speaker's internet connections dropped. Well, for the ethnic population, they um, do not necessarily have the business infrastructure, but we have our research recently by our economic committee of the KNU. According to this research, over 70% of the population do cultivation in agriculture sector. But then again, what happened is that the majority of the people's time end up being in the IDP camps. Whenever the military operation, military assault was conducted on in our area, it is always the harvesting time. So what happened is that the people do not dare to have big plantation because that will be destroyed by the military by the time that they will do the military assault, military operation in the area as well. On top of that, we never had the properly established economic infrastructure such as roads, such as electricity. Now, what happened is that in terms of the economic concept of the individual is just enough food. It is all about just enough food, just enough clothes, and a place to live. That's all. So another thing is that talking about federalism, the federalism in the past was a concept coming from top-down approach. So basically, what happened is that people, the leaders, went to Naypyidaw, the capital. There were meeting regarding democracy, regarding federalism, but people never really understand all of this on the ground. But then again, people have this kind of concept that, well, federalism is a kind of a given situation from our leader. We just have to wait, right? So, but then again, we have to think of lately the bottom-up approach in terms of the our federal journey. The Burmese people need to want it, and the Kayin people want it. So that's it's how the bottom-up approach needs to happen. It's the same for the economy. We have to have the economy approach from the bottom to the top. Begin with, we have to have this SME approach. But then again, the economic recovery has never been in our situation. So, what we need to do is that we need to have this bottom up economic approach in order for us having the economic recovery. So, this is a kind of idea that we formed lately that we need to pursue in this kind of direction. So what I would like to say is that we are trying to have the bottom-up economic approach for the economic overall development for us. Thank you. Now we see some relationship between the point made by Ardeth and Sakda. So what we can conclude is that due to coup d'etat economic downfall, it's the evidence. Federalism is the direction in which economic development can be happening through the bottom-up approach. Now, I would like to invite another speaker, Cô Hein Maung. Can you please share your opinion regarding how this condition can be seen, interpreted, and what we can um, be hopeful for our future? Thank you. Well, it is not the rocket science to really understand the economy of Myanmar. In the past, there was quasi-democratic government. There was economic liberalization attempt happen. There were some decentralization in the past, so that's why Myanmar economy was getting to the right direction with 6-7% annual growth, referring the information of the um, IMF, World Bank, etc., etc. But then in the Myanmar, we always have this conflict area. So in the conflict area, they do not enjoy the economic prosperity, but in the stable area of Myanmar, in that time, people experience the good business. But then again, COVID made the situation completely upside down, and to this matter in which was the country got this coup d'etat. So the Myanmar economy got completely destroyed for whatever policy that good policy that this country had in the past, for whatever reform that this country had in the past, or whatever development this country had in the past, the all of these just disappeared overnight after the coup d'etat. So why? Because of the political instability. So what we can really learn is that economy of a country completely rely on the political stability. So for the future, whenever we talked about the economic development, we need to think about the political system. We need to think about the ethnic area. We need to think about the conflict area. If there is no equality among the people, then the situation will not be stable, then economy will never be developed. After the coup d'etat in 2021, the economy then dropped. According to the World Bank 2021's report, their estimation is that Myanmar economy shrunk to 18%. So it is just 1/3 of a whole economy of the country. But I have the impression that there are some struggling attempt to get back to where it was, but we had the momentum of business development before COVID, but this situation is not reached yet. So again, we can definitely see the daily struggle of a normal population. It's a clear indicator that the economy is not good at all. Thank you very much for sharing your observation. Again, people may not have all sort of statistic data figures, but our kitchen really tell our story of how well off we are. But then again, all of this economic hardship is something each and every family household can really understand what's going on, even if they are not interested in economic at all. Now, I would like to proceed with the Q&A session. I have a question to Siaso Sakda. You talked about that ethnic area under the conflict dynamics since 1960 62s to be precise. So since then there were crony regime in terms of the business, and but then again after coup d'etat, what kind of business system that this country has in your opinion? Thank you.
Can you repeat your question, Saya? Yes. And as in the earlier round, you said that Myanmar economy, especially for the ethnic communities, have been their front lines. It's the battlefield. So that means that Myanmar economy after the 1960s has changed to the socialism. After the socialism, then there was also in the 90s we also have that capitalist as well as colonialism. So after the coup, after 2021, is Myanmar economy, trying to the trend is going back, to the system before, going back to the economic system before, or are you seeing new trends in terms of Myanmar economy as a whole? Thank you, Saya. Yes, so I would like to what I would like to first recap on the situation in the ethnic states, but because inside the Myanmar, it might be a little bit distant from us. For Kotule, when we say Kotule, and when we say Kotule, we are talking about two states. It covered two states and two regions. So from Bago State to the Nindai region, then we also have the Korenamo State. This is our Kotule administrative about territory. So when we look at economy in the state Kotule area, then we see that a lot of economy is much more exploitatory, that people would just want to go for the shortcut, short way on it, but it's very much more exploiting. It does not contribute to the people. For example, like extraction of natural resources, for example, such as like the forests, logging or the other, they just, people just want to focus on extracting natural resources just to make a quick buck, and so that's the model of economy we are suing here. As the other speakers have explained, sustainable economy. If we want to go to sustainable economy, how do we do that? We need to look back to the people. Because without the people, we cannot have a sustainable economy, and that is very clear. That's something I think also is understandable. So, as a Catholic government, that for economic recovery, when we think about economic recovery, we need to think about this too, that we have policies, but to have economic recovery, we need to listen to the voice of the people. We need to listen to the demands of the people. We need to know the situation of the people. We cannot just do a planning our own without listening to the voice of the people. So in 2022 and 23, the part of the work that we have done is that new economy. So we had it that we call it like a economy assessment in our Koduri area. It took us nearly 2 years. We know because COVID is an issue. COVID still is an issue, but that the coup was worse than the COVID on the people of Myanmar. So our people have suffered. Their situation. They were going deeper into poverty. So the agricultural, most of our people are agricultural farmers, and they depend on the agriculture to survive themselves. They're mostly for the ethnic community. So they need to be able to sell their produce, but they had difficulties to sell them. For example, let's say that we have paddy, we have the pulses, we have the, the sesames, we have the crops. We cannot go and sell them. Even if there are roads, there are no such access roads, or if there are access roads, the roads are extremely dangerous because the military use their public access road. They are literally, they were robbers. They will have the checkpoints where they will say that they will run the security check, they will take whatever, they will confiscate, they will take money, they will extort. They are simply nothing more than the armed robber. So it's really make it hard for the people to get a livelihood. Okay, and then when the people started to buy that their for their food supplies from the urban area, it's not easy because in our state we don't have a banking system. People don't know how to use the banking system. They don't have access to the mobile banking or digital banking. They have always been neglected by the central government. So there is no such banking facilities for them as well. So when we think about reform and transition, we also need to think about the economic infrastructure, because during the time Myanmar was transitioning, there was no such banking or the financial infrastructure for our people too. So when we think about the people living in ethnic control areas, for the economic recovery or the social recovery of the people in our territories, we need to know more about what they are facing. So we collected this assessment and we received a lot of information. There were a lot of findings too. But here in this today's talk show, I will not be able to share details about our assessment and the finding because our report has not been formally published yet, but we can also share the general findings. According to the general findings, we know the areas where we need to prioritize. For example, there were also quite a lot of we have received a lot of recommendations. We also need human resource. I think it was Ardeth also said that there is because of the political instability, because of the political crisis, there is a brain drain. A lot of Myanmar youth, qualified workers, skilled workers, they left because they have so that they can generate their income and support their family. But what we also must need to learn is that, let's say that our youth are going to work in other countries, then they do not have a proper education, but they go to Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, and they work there and they gain their professional skills. So some of them may work in the factories, some of them work in other, in the retail, they learn the economy, they learn the business, the area they work on. So once the situation opens up and the political situation stabilized, people will come back. Now they don't have a choice because of the horrible political situation, as well as on the mismanagement and misgovernance. They can no longer stay inside the country, so they have to try and live and support their family so that they will be able to come one day. Our economic policy very much based on the community. But we know that we need to base our efforts on the human resources, and by looking at our assessment and the funding, that will also give us way thinking about what we need to do for the economic recovery of the country. So that's the planning will do based on the findings of our research. So we cannot look at big or major economic activities, because in Myanmar, most of the major companies or the economic endeavors are being taken by either by the crony or those who are very close to the military. And then when we talk about economic investment in our territories, that for the people to be able to do economic investment, that these cronies are so they are not very interested in what they are interested in extraction of natural resources, because they think it is a way to make money quickly as well. So we need to think for us to be able to have economic recovery and sustainable development based on agriculture, we need to help develop the MSME, small and medium enterprises, because that will help people be able to generate income so that people can also generate income to support their family. And that's the policy formulation that we have. So our priority will be on the promoting the small and medium enterprises. That's what I would like to share from as part of the first part of the findings of our research. Thank you, Sia. So of course, that also has given me a few follow-up points to discuss, but now I would like to give Thawnghmung Ardeth a chance to respond to. Thramu, you have you have lived through the 1988, so you know the experience in 1988, and then 2021 also is quite historical. It is, in a way, some people say that it is a change to, a new chapter in the history. So after 1988, there was also the normalization of economy in some sense, and then what are the differences with the current 2021, the situation, the economy has been transforming? What are the similarities or what are the differences with the 1988? Well, after the military took power, I did carry out a research. I continue in the research in a way that it is that looking at the grassroots community that because of the military took power, then what are the economic consequences to the community, grassroots community on the ground? What are the social and economic issues of that grassroots community they are facing on the ground? How are they, they're responding to them? How are they confronting these challenges? I think it was Maung that he shared with the numbers, and also our Sakda also talk about the work of the in the KNU area, their experience in doing that, and he also share about their research finding. I would like to discuss on a more of a general perspective about the community across Myanmar. Before 1988, just before, I would also like to make a bit of a comparison with the situation of Myanmar before 1988 as well. I grew up in the socialist era, and and so when we look at I think so far in my throughout my life, the situation, the economic deterioration of today is the worst. Inflation has increased dramatically. There is also the problem of the scarcity of work opportunities, and the incomes are extremely low. That some of the people are working at the working like long hours with a very low salary or income as well. So throughout my life, I have lived through various experiences. I think current economic situation is the worst of the worst. We grew up in a neo-win socialism that at the time we had a lot of scarcity about food. I still recall that, for to get rice or the cooking oil, I remember that we have to go and queue at the cooperatives, in every township, in every ward, and we had a quota. You only get this amount of rice or this amount of, cooking oil from the government at the government price, and that was the scarcity. Because at the time, Myanmar was isolated. Myanmar was so isolated that Myanmar economy does not have a much dependence on the world economy. There wasn't also neither there wasn't much of natural resource extraction. There wasn't also much in terms of that investment for investment as well. There was civil war, but there was no fighting in urban area, and Myanmar was not also at the time not stricken by the natural disaster. Politically speaking, at the time people were poor, but people do not have much knowledge about democracy either. People were not very awoke. They don't have the knowledge about the democracy or rights as well. But in 1988, after 1988, 1990, what we have seen is that we have seen more economic investment, more foreign investment in Myanmar, especially foreign Myanmar. Welcome to foreign investment. Foreign investment started to come back into Myanmar, and also we are also seeing that Myanmar starts to open up to the world economy. That at the time the military opened up Myanmar to this. So at the time it wasn't. We could we call Myanmar this a liberalization? Not really, because Myanmar wants to able to have all the license and permits and the concession only goes to the military or the cronies or those who are backed by the military. So it wasn't a genuine form of economic liberalization. So we will call it the crony capitalism, that it is not economic, it's not like capitalism where everybody will be able to have to be able to enjoy the progress of economic development. It was only thanks to the crony. Maung, in his response earlier, talk about that liberalization period, 2011 to 2020 was considered liberalization period. He already shared, so I wouldn't repeat that. But after 2021, after the coup, what happened is that the way the situation is after 2021 is worse it was similar to that of the, before 1990, so before 1988, that, even it's even worse than, it's also is in a way worse than before as well, because we are seeing civil war, we're seeing armed conflict, we are seeing the lack of rule of law, and in the society at large or individually, people are struggling to survive. People are struggling just to survive. And Siasada, as Sadrasada also made the point as well, when that civil war happened, that what happened is that they cannot think about the long run. They do not have a long-term expectation. As a government, you have to think about also the short term. Everybody now, because of the war, because of the conflict, people are thinking to survive on a daily basis as well. So sometimes when you are struggling, you are trying to find a way through by the working in the right way, but you might also tend to illicit economy that can endanger the future of the people or the lives of the other people. Let me give you a few examples. For example, like what the way people tend to illicit economy is such as people will have to, they have no other way, so what they will do is they have to sell whatever they have saved there, so that as well, that maybe in the families, the families, because of the, if they are trying to survive on their own in the righteous way, they will not be able to have meat on a regularly. They have to lower their level of quality of the rice that they consume in the IDPs. They will be just having their, boiled rice. They will not be able to have a proper, like a cook rice, that kind of thing, that a lot of women have to, that lead their family, support their women and children, underage children, have tend to hard work, hard labor, such as working in the construction sites or carrying bricks and all. We are also seeing many are making efforts to leave the country. When they leave the country, they could be leaving, as they know that through the proper documented channels. They could also be leaving through the illegitimate channel as well. So a lot more people are leaving that country, that illegally. But I'm also seeing the families are also setting up small businesses, small grocery shops, and they are struggling to get to be able to generate income. We also see a lot of people selling food, cooking food and selling food online. And men also, where men started to work as like a porter or the delivery as well, that delivery men. Without the rule of law, we are also seeing a lot more brokers or intermediary and scams as well. And people tend to lottery, for formal lottery or the informal lottery. We are also seeing a lot of gambling and casino. People play lottery because they have a hope, maybe I might be lucky enough to, win a prize. But in reality, as you all know, if you play lottery, then what will happen is that you will be indebted, because that, I mean, very few people actually get rich by playing lottery, by playing illicit lottery. That will have an impact, because you will be indebted. That will also have an impact on your family, on your relationship. It's just nothing but problems that will generate when you try to get money in the by a shortcut as well. We are also seeing a higher forms of bribery and corruption among the government agency because of the lack of the rule of law. We are also seeing the cases of human trafficking, scam, as well as on the frauds of the people cheating each other out of money. And then we can also see that individually as a group, they know that force to survive, that people are turning to the extraction of the natural resources. Natural resources is, instead of using the scientifically, that environmentally friendly way, we are seeing that over extraction of natural resources. And then there are also those who tend to the production and the traffic of narcotics and substance, which can endanger the future of the youth as well. We are also seeing small criminal acts of criminality, such as robbery or the pickpocket or stealing, or all these actors are show desperation and desperateness, and they have a quite large negative impact on the people as a whole. So with the civil war, because of the lack of the rule of law, lack of law enforcement, there is no clear governing power that goes public administration cannot run properly. In the end, it is the people who suffer through this chaos and the problems of the rule of law with the depletion of natural resources. And we are also facing more the environmental problems, such as related to the climate change, with the depreciation of the Myanmar jet. So inputs for agricultural imports have increased in terms of price dramatically for the farmers. We are also seeing the impacts of the climate change, such as like heavy rains or the extreme heat, resulting in the destruction of the harvest or that the crops of the farmers. The farmers that the farmers are also afraid to store their yield because of they know the political situation is not stable, so that they will try to sell as soon as possible. They cannot wait because normally if the political situation is good, farmer can store their crops in a safe place, and then they can sell when the prices are better. But now they don't have a choice, so they have to sell whenever they harvested. So because of the political problems, people tend to resolve their economic hardships by turning to illicit economy, or by desperately doing whatever they can. That means that these kind of action is not good for the economy of the country, and also means a negative impact on the lives of the people. Thank you, Sema Ardeth, for your comprehensive discussion. I think when I was listening, I was also, that, and I just have nothing but to cite, because all this does not all go well for the future of the country. Now, I would like to give a question to Gu Heimao. So when we look at the discussions of the different speakers, we see that we have been looking at what kind of impact does the politics have on the economy. What about economy? If we look at it from reversely, how does the economy impact their politics? Because so far we talk about the natural resource extraction, as well as we also see the economy that the entrepreneurs are focusing on making income, making economic gains. So that kind of mentality, that kind of mindset, economy, what kind of impact does it have on the politics? So I would like to interest it. So in the military, with the military dictatorship, how does the economy influence the politics, and what will it be on the federalism that we are trying to achieve?
Sorry.
I hope you can all hear me. My internet also was not very stable. So my question is for Koh Heimao. So what we have been discussing, what we have been listening, is about the economic hardships as an impact of the politics on the economy. So I would like to do a reverse perspective. How does the economy contribute to the politics? And that, when it comes to access to natural resources, there is also the unfairness of the distribution of the natural resources, and the economic, when you look at the economic activities, including natural resource extraction, are only for the good of a few, and often at the detriment of the population as a whole. So this kind of illicit, or this kind of this kind of exploitatory economic system, how do they contribute to the dictatorships? And what kind of economic system will be important for federalism? What should we be thinking now for the future? Thank you for the question. And I believe it is a very important question too, because when we look at the economic infrastructure has influence over the politics. Let me give you an example. Myanmar's economy has there are three major drivers, or the driving sectors in Myanmar economy. Firstly is the extraction of natural resources. We have that jade, we have that oil and gas, we also have the forest and the timber production. That's the natural resource extraction. Second is the manufacturing sector, manufacturing and service industry. Thirdly, we have the other sectors such as agriculture. We also have the livestock and animal husbandry. When we in the earlier times, that during the time the military regime after 1988 until now, that natural resource extraction have been a major sector in Myanmar economy. So the Myanmar economy is built largely on the extraction of natural resources. You can ask, what is the result? We got natural resources like either a jade mine or a mineral mine, or that it is not everyone can go and do that. You need license, you need permits. That time, you need to work with the government or the authorities. So you need to get permits and the concessions, or the that allowance from them that is based on their permit that you can only run these businesses. So when the country's economy based on so we started to see cronyism. Cronyism, in a way, is a form of a patronage, that where the military officers senior officials will give special permission for the companies to be able to run the businesses. It's not because they have the ability, and that it's not because they are more mindful about the preservation of the environment. No, it's not that. Because they know they are family to this person, or they are connected to that person. They get these mining concessions through this kind of skill. So that's how they become millionaires and the billionaires and the crony as well. And that if they don't have the favor or the patronage from the military officials, they won't be able to do the business as well. So what becomes is that there is a very close kind of like a mutual interdependency between the military officials, military leaders, and the crony businessmen as well, which created a lot of social, economic, and social gaps as well. When we talk about the mining license or the extraction license, I'm just giving the example of the extraction of natural resources. For example, like they also get monopoly rights as well, whether a company or an entity was given the right as well. They have, like, for example, like importing certain businesses is given to only one company as well. And the kind of license they usually give such license to those businessmen who are close to them. That we have seen that before in the previous regime as well. What happened is that the products they import might not be the best price or the best quality. That maybe that they often the products are like what they do is they have the monopoly, they have the license, so they will make the people pay for it. They will often import low quality, which they will charge the premium price to the people. So in the end, it's the people who suffer from the greed of both these political patronage as well. So that and in a way, the kind of crony economy also in return support the military dictatorship as well. So that that those who have the power will give the license and permits and concession, so that the crony will also have to bribe them and give them money and support them, so that they can stay longer in the office. And for many decades, Myanmar economy has run in such a crony capitalism, because that the kind of economic system also support the military as well, and that also helped the military sustain leadership. And then if we look into why the military wants to conduct a coup, is because they want to maintain that kind of economic system as well. Because in such economy, there is an over dependence on the natural resources. But when we look at natural resources are not renewable. They are finite. They are not unlimited. These resources, if we continue to extract them, that they will be depleted, including oil and gas. That if they are not finite resources. One day these resources will run out. These resources will be depleted. So these finite resources are not. If we build our economy on these such finite resources, it is not sustainable as well. well. Another issue is the public financing mechanism. It is important to connect this to the public financing as well as the political economy. If we look at it from these two perspectives, that the public finances of the government of Myanmar, if we look at the public finances, that if for decades, literally decades, the government's economy is very much dependent on the natural resource extraction. So they get the royalties, or that or the income from the jade, or the from the oil and gas. They do not depend on the public revenue, such as the tax collection, or the taxing the people. Because if they collect taxes from the people will say, we are paying you taxes, we want to hold you accountable for and responsible for the money we have given to you. But if we look at the government as a mechanism, they always monopolize the natural resources, and the income from the natural resources are also monopolized by the military, and their policy do not orient themselves towards the people, because they simply don't care about the taxes. They are generating income from their natural resources. As other speakers say, this economic system in Myanmar always never had to be accountable to the people of Myanmar. So that kind of economy also, in a way, have like an impact on the political system as well. Thank you, Sia, for the contribution. Now we'll be taking questions. So to the questions that we'd like to check our audience. If you have questions, if you're in the Zoom, you can please raise your hand or use the Q&A or the chat box to ask question. Or if you're following us on live stream, please use the comments and ask questions to our speakers.
Well, if you have any suggestion, recommendation, you may say so as well. And if you have any particular comment on Myanmar economy, you may do so as well. May I add one thing? Yes, please take the floor. As Hein mentioned regarding the natural resources impact, and he also mentioned about the cronyism impact. I would like to add few points with the perspective of the public. Internationally speaking, if a particular country business is not good, then it has impact on the government. Then, so that government will not be elected again in next election round. And if a country economy is on the downfall in a specific time, then the public will go for protest, and then the government then are pressured to fix the economy, and sometimes the government then is removed from the office. So what I'm trying to say is that if the economy is good, then the political system um, uh, 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 can have a negative impact on it. And on the other hand, if the economy is not good, then that kind of poor economy can be used as a weapon to oppress the people. So, for example, in this revolution, some of the CDMRs now go back to their job since they cannot tolerate their financial hardship. So basically, if the business is not good, if the economy is not good, then it can be a favorable condition for the dictatorship as well. So this is something that I would like to draw our attention. Thank you. And we have 3 questions. First question says that how long Myanmar economy can survive until the whole country will go starving. So, hey Maung, can you please respond to this? Well, talking about starvation, well, uh, well, at this moment, I don't think that we will have that kind of famine situation. But then again, Myanmar economy got shrank to 1/3 of its capacity before the coup, and the economic policy of the State Administration Council is such a chaotic one. The Myanmar currency dropped its value. So and on top of that, there is no international investment in Myanmar. So Myanmar economy is on its downfall. How long that Myanmar economy survive? Well, I could anticipate that Myanmar people might um, experience the very bad financial means. It was the case in 1988, and in the ethnic area, in the conflicting area, they had good business, but they never had good economy. Now talking about the resilient, how well that people can resilient, it can be in various threshold, depending on who we are talking about. On top of that, we need to consider the external shock this country might experience. The situation is very sensitive, and if there would be some kind of external shock, such as cyclone or natural disaster, well, things can be very hard to imagine, right? In terms of the resilience. Thank you. And we have second question in Q&A box. I would it be possible that the people administration or ethnic revolutionary organization in the ethnic control area can play a role in coming up with good public administration policy and public economic policy for the betterment of the people's financial situation. Thank you. Can for this question, I would like to ask Sakda to respond this. Thank you. Well, in the ethnic area, the resilience is something that we cannot undermine. It has been over 70 years that we survive and we live with small businesses, and the series of generations of military dictators oppress our economic development in our area as well. But we survive. Then again, we need to have a good policy, of course. But then again, that need to be relevant to our area as well. In our area, we have policy already Our policy is the people-centered approach policy. The SAC um, had to lose their control area a lot in this revolution. Now, I'm not talking about Yangon, Mandalay, big city, but I think that the role of the ethnic revolutionary organization will become very important for the newly controlled area for us. So, in order to have the business policy implemented, we need to control the land. We need to control the area as the first thing. Around Myanmar, uh, the whole bordering area of Myanmar is the ethnic area. So, the whole border, rings of border and rounds of borders of Myanmar is controlled by the ethnic revolutionary organization. Personally, I would like to encourage NUG that they need to study the policy of the ethnic administration regarding the administration and economy, and we need to we do not we should not think about seaport, airport for the as a business infrastructure. No, we cannot think that big, but we need to think very basic. What can be produced, what can be sold for the people on the ground, by the people on the ground. So they really need to work together with the ethnic revolutionary organization in the perspective of economic recovery, and we have to work together in that direction in the control area, ethnic control area, and the in the adjacent area or such ethnic control area as well, in which we can think of the small economy, medium-sized economy. Thank you. Thank you very much for pointing us out regarding the approach and possibility of having the small size, medium size economy for the practical reason for the economic recovery for the people on the ground. Thank you. Now I have another question that should go to Siama Adit. The question is such that every Myanmar, every sector business is falling down. And what kind of business sector is sustainable these days? And what kind of business that we should prioritize? And can you please respond this question in relationship to our Myanmar dynamic that we have these days? Thank you. I will try to respond these question, although I do not have all the answers for the solution. Talking about which sector got the most negative impacted, which sector is not impacted. So I would say that every sector is impacted after the coup in Myanmar. Myanmar, needless to say, is the agriculture country. Agriculture sector got negatively impacted, heavily impacted. The planting area got reduced, and agriculture activity got reduced. Livelihood activity got reduced. Why? Well, it's because of Myanmar currency uh, deprivation. So all the inputs are extremely expensive. The fuel, the diesel, expensive. The chemicals, pesticide, insecticides, agriculture inputs, all very expensive these days. And due to the climate change, we have this year, there was Mocha cyclone, heavy rain, daily basis, and lots of plantation got destroyed. So basically, agriculture sector got heavily impacted. Tourism sector, well, not a lot of tourists these days. Other civic sector got negatively impacted. According to my observation, according to my research findings, the gold sector, well, the gold business, it seems doing very well, because gold price it's increase, and the land price in the non-conflict area, which are the big cities, the land price got increased ridiculously. So what happened is that, and you have all the other people living to big city, since their native place or their original place was not safe anymore. So what happened is that the people selling gold, the people in this uh, in this real estate are doing quite a business these days. And there are also other service brokers um, such as a service firm providing parents for their children, um, sending to the foreign school, such kind of education service, got good business as well. And the civil service are doing fine because they are taking bribe. So all of these are not sustained way of doing business at all. And this country does not have the economic long-term economic plan. So what happened is that we really need to think in this direction, the local economy, which is one of the essence of federalism, the bottom-up approach. The bad economy will have the bad impact on the success of the revolution. If people are struggling only to eat, only to wear clothes, then they will not have other means to support the revolution. And what happened is that I also wrote research about it, that if this kind of situation is getting intensified or getting worse, people will have this kind of accommodating mode to this oppressing regime. So, since people care so much about their life, about their security, intimidation, what would happen is that they will just obey whatever they're asked by the oppressive regime. And in my opinion, diaspora are the main drivers, in my opinion, to fund this revolution. There are migrant workers outside of Myanmar. This is just my personal opinion. They support financially, they support technically to this revolution. I am from the education sector. What I would like to emphasize is that Myanmar students are now very much outside of Myanmar school. So there are many Myanmar students around the world. Compare with the number of Myanmar students studying outside of Myanmar back in 1990s with now, well now there are more Myanmar students. I think in next 5-6 years time there will be around, or there will be more than 100 Myanmar PhD holders. These are our human resources, but there are brain drainage in our reconstruction time for Myanmar. We really need to think their role as well. Singapore is a country that they rely on human resource. They have no natural resources. So what I can see is that apart from the liberated area, it is very difficult for the people to participate in this revolution. But then again, Myanmar people outside of this country, I believe, will continue the momentum for the revolution until its end. Well, this is the time. Thank you very much for the contribution. Now, this is the time for the wrap up. I would like to invite and every one of the panelists to add, to summarize, to suggest for our new future, new society, new country, new economy. If you can, if you can share all of these, thank you very much. And now I would like to invite Go Maung. Can you please share your final words to us for tonight's conversation? Thank you. Well, as the conclusion, what we can do in this kind of economic situation, I would like to add few things. We discuss things, but we discuss only the symptom of the disease. We did not talk much about the root cause of the disease. The root cause of the economic downfall, it's due to the dictatorship, due to the fact that this country has never implemented federalism in the country. And only if we can change the system of a country, the business infrastructure will be reorganized along with this. We have said it repeatedly that we need a new country in which justice and equality will need to be there. Only then the future economy will be just, will be fair for everyone. But then again, for the future economic development vision, I would like to say 3 points. We need to have peace and stability in this country. We need to prioritize it. And then we need the business development measures along with this infrastructure improvement, employment opportunity improvement would need to be there. The third point that I would like to say, it's about the people and the planet. The human resource is to be rebuilt, and we need to find a way that we protect, that we extract our natural resources in a very sustainable way, and that it's to contribute to its own people. So through this, we need to develop the future economy in that kind of direction. Thank you. Thank you very much for. Now I would like to invite Sakda for your conclusion, and if you have any suggestion to the audience, please do so. I would like to echo some of the points that Himot mentioned. We have talked about the short-term solution in this crisis, in this revolution. I also would like to say that I like one question. One question says that how can we stand together with this revolution if we cannot live our life on a daily basis? I would like to respond this. The military council undermined the commitment of the people, but after 2 years in this revolution, people resilient, people power, people strength, it's never to be undermined. Now we are in we are reconstructing this country. We are engaging in this revolution, and along with this, the means and and the ways come along with us. 70 years is the duration of the revolution that the Kenyan people are live with. But our Kenyan revolution still going on. So my message to everyone and my message to the military council is that don't never ever underestimate the people power. Now I would like to talk to future. Please come up with a business model that it's centered based on the people need. Thank you. Now I would like to invite Ardeth for the conclusion. Thank you.
စစ်အုပ်ချုပ်ရေးစစ်အာဏာရှင်စနစ်မပြတ်သွားဘူး
And
ဆို
I would like to reiterate what Hima also has said, because the root cause of the economic crisis, political instability, is the military. If we cannot resolve the issue of the military regime, then we'll not be able to address the issues as well. Myanmar is a country that has so many issues. We have multiple challenges and problems. Even when we can eradicate the military dictatorship, there still are many challenges. We also have the ethnic revolutionary organization, different organization had different issues. There are also ethnicity is an issue, territory. There are many problems as well that and that it is, I think, important for all of us to be able to continue and stand strongly against such challenges. That my message to the people of Myanmar is that we believe in you, because we believe that people of Myanmar will be able to continue to remain resilient and be able to address the challenges, the issue. I do want to share a point on the federalism, that nowadays a lot of debates there are. Nowadays we hear a lot of debates on the, about the federal government, and that, the central government, the power sharing and the resource sharing, and as well as others. There are a lot of debates on that as well. But I would like to recount that. I would like to pick up what a point is, Sada has made, that it is also important whatever economic policy we have, what kind of economic structure we implement. I think it is important that we need to center the people, that the economic policy should focus on the grassroots community, because the 50% of the population, the people are, they are they are very poor. They live in extremely poor conditions. I think it is important to think about this majority of Myanmar people. It is important to think about the grassroots community. It is important to have policy that will meet the needs of the grassroots community, and that's the economic policy that our governments should have. Whenever we say federalism, we often discuss federal issue is at the apolitical elite level, economic elite level. So I think it is important that the federalism should be bottom up. It should be based on the needs of the people on the ground, grassroots community, and also it is also important to find a way, a harmony between the natural resources and situation of the location of the area. What kind of economic policy will be most adapted to meet the context and to fill the needs as well. And I also like to encourage the youth of Myanmar, because right now human resource is very much needed. It is much needed. You know, in 1988, back in the days, we were also very much depressed by what is happening in Myanmar because of all the instability. We were very much depressed, discouraged, but please remain motivated. That it is important to learn and gain skills so that one day you'll be able to contribute to the building of the nation. So as a youth, you'll be able to contribute to the progress of the country. And that's my word of encouragement to the people and the youth of Myanmar. So thank you to our speakers for the encouragement as well as on the recommendation. So today we have come to an end of the front line of the Myanmar economy. We'll be ending our talk show here. I would like to say thank you to our speakers as well as those who are joining us and listening to the talk show through the live streams. That next in the future as well, we'll also be organizing the talk shows where we will do our worst to bring new food for thought as well as on the various ideological concepts to also to consider. Thank you for joining us today. And until next time, thank you.